Hello, I'm Murray Hadley, and this is a Rossi Pursuit HP that I got on eBay used. It's a ski from 5 years ago. I demoed it, decided it was appropriate for me. One finally showed up at a price that I could stomach, so I got it. Its base was not maintained well at all. It needed a stone grind, so I got the stone grind. Freshly ground ski. Anyway, when you get a stone grinding, what they do is they put what they call structure onto the base, and what structure is a sequence of little valleys and grooves that give the base a little bit of a three-dimensional characteristic. And what that does is it helps melt the snow when the ski glides over it. It avoids friction. It avoids suction. What you do with a new stone ground ski is a certain sequence of preparation, mostly having to do with base prep wax. If you want future wax jobs to really hold well. So we're going to go through that sort of information on this ski. We're going to generally follow what's in this booklet here. This is a Swix booklet called Alpine Ski and Snowboard Preparation. A local ski shop called Buckman's had us over, and they had a Swix rep down, and he talked about the different wax-it-yourself products that Swix has, and as part of his presentation he gave us these Swix booklets from a couple years ago. You can download new ones. The link is down below. Stone grinding stirs up what they call microfiber hairs from the base, and you're supposed to get rid of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush actually both ways with a bronze brush here. Then I'm actually going to sand it with very light sandpaper, very light pressure. And this is 220 grit paper because that's what I had around the house. This light pressure, this is just to get rid of the microfibers, not destroy the structure. So I'm just going to make a couple of light passes, and that's it. All right, then I'm going to hit it with a slightly softer brass brush. Then make quite a few passes with this. Now I'm using Scotch-Brite. It simulates a Swix product called Fiber Tex. And I'm going to go both ways here at the beginning. But they say to make a lot of strokes of this. I'm going to count them. I'm eventually going to make 50 strokes. I just have this Scotch-Brite stuff wrapped around some old files. All right, I'm mostly done the 50 strokes. Remaining strokes, I'm only going to go tip to tail. Tip to tail, it'll really sail. Tail to tip, it'll go like shh. Sorry for my silence there. Okay, I think that's enough of the strokes. And this glide wax cleaner was applied with a very low absorption, no lint cloth, so it didn't hold very much. I wiped to the base clean, let it dry, and you're supposed to let it dry at least 10 minutes. I let it dry a lot longer than that. What we've done to this point is remove microfibers and oxidation from the base, and waxing is next. Okay, for the waxing, what we're going to do is go through a sequence of waxes from softer to harder. This wax, SBCG-1, is a special base prep wax specifically designed for the job of starting out the waxing on a new ski after a stone grind. This wax here is Swix BP88. I think this is probably the most common base prep wax. It's certainly what I've used the most. And this is going from softer to harder waxes here. And probably what I'm going to do is I'm just going to probably mix these two skiing hardness waxes, CH7 and CH6. The Swix Blue is a kind of a harder wax for colder temperatures, but I do want to get some of that into the ski before I start into the skiing waxes. And the most interesting tidbit I found in the manual was saturate the base with BP88. Iron in 5 times with 5 minutes interval. Apply more wax if necessary. No scraping in between. What they're saying is put on the wax and you want to heat it, let it cool, heat it, let it cool. Do some heat cycling and a repeated scent. Now we're going to do that, but we're going to move through a sequence of waxes, softer to harder, as we do it. What is the wax going into? Now these skis today have what are called sintered bases. And what a sintered base is something that's made out of discrete particles, like a snowball. A snowball has discrete snowflakes and they're mashed together into one contiguous thing. Our ski bases are as though they're made of little discrete black plastic snowflakes that are compressed together under heat, but not so much as to liquefy it. And there's some space remaining in there. And that space is where we want our wax to go. And this act of heat cycling with the wax on it can help get the wax into those spaces. And that's what we're going to do. Okay, I'm applying the first layer of this RaceService wax here. As an audio aside, let's go back to sintered bases and when they first seemed to show up. In the 1984 Olympics, a U.S. girl named Debbie Armstrong won giant slalom on a snowy track on a Dina Star ski, which then hit the market. And one of the big marketing ploys of this ski was this sintered base, which supposedly held the wax better. Well, I got some of those skis, and I had been waxing my skis already for quite a few years and knew the difference. The first time I waxed a sintered ski, I'm thinking, holy mackerel, the ski is thirsty. It is just drinking up this wax. And so these modern ski bases, they really do have the ability to absorb some wax. I believe that the heat cycling is going to be more effective with these softer waxes. So I'm probably not going to heat cycle the BP88 and the skiing oriented waxes here as much as I did with this RaceService Super Soft Wax. All right, this is the start of the third heat cycle, and this time I'm going to just add a little bit more wax to it. It doesn't have to be very much. All right, it's time to go ahead with the next wax in this sequence. And the next wax is this Swix BP88 here. This is maybe the most general purpose all around base prep wax, at least certainly in the Swix line, maybe of all the lines. And then we'll go with these skiing type waxes harder later. All right, so the first step though, we've still got the original very soft base prep wax on here. I'm going to heat that up, scrape it off. For another audio aside here, at some point I had been doing a little bit of recreational racing, and I heard about this idea of the base prep sequences of going from softer waxes to harder waxes. And so I started doing it quite a long time ago. Now that doesn't mean I've done a zillion skis. No, I haven't, because I really only seem to do it after I get a stone grind on skis, and there's some skis where I maybe only get one stone grind in the life of the ski and move on to a different one or something like that. Anyway, in the earlier sequences, I would possibly use more waxes than what I did on this one, but each rest between the layers was longer. So in other words, I might put on wax 1 on Monday morning, wax 2 on Tuesday morning, wax 3 on Wednesday morning, etc., etc. And so the whole thing took longer than what this is. Now this sequence here was really just 3 different waxes, and I did wait, you could say 12 hours, you know, whatever it says in the text. It was like a morning, a night, and then the next morning, and that covered the 3 layers of wax. But each layer I did go through the heat cycling, so that the sequence of heat cycling took about 45 minutes, 50 minutes for each wax layer. Again, these passes are pretty straightforward. This different wax certainly acts a little bit differently. It's just thicker, at least with this level of heating, which is close to the recommended level. Yeah, I first started using this BP88 probably a dozen years ago, when I switched from the wax cleaning methodology to the hot scrape methodology. As I'm kind of wrapping up this video and getting ready to post it on YouTube, I will say I have been out on this ski 5 times now, and it does have exceptional glide to it. It's a very fast ski. I definitely will be getting another stone grind on a different ski next year and following a pattern approximately like what was done in this video here.